Wulfgar replied, a Wendel chief renowned as a warrior, well known for his wisdom and the temper of his mind. I will take this message in accordance with your wish to our noble king, our dear lord friend of the Danes, the giver of rings. I will go and ask him about your coming here, then hurry back with whatever reply it pleases him to give. With that he turned to where Hrothgar sat. An old man among retainers, the valiant follower stood foursquare in front of his king. He knew the courtesies. Wulfgar addressed his dear lord. People from Geatland have put ashore. They have sailed far over the wide sea. They call the chief in charge of their band by the name of Beowulf. They beg my lord an audience with you, exchange of words and formal greeting. Most gracious Hrothgar, do not refuse them, but grant them a reply. From their arms and appointment they appear well born and worthy of respect, especially the one who has led them this far. He is formidable indeed. Hrothgar, protector of shieldings, replied, I used to know him when he was a young boy. His father before him was called Ecgtheow. Hrethel the Geat gave Ecgtheow his daughter in marriage. This man is their son, here to follow up an old friendship. A crew of seamen who sailed for me once with a gift cargo across to Geatland returned with marvelous tales about him. A thane, they declared, with the strength of 30 in the grip of each hand. Now, holy God has, in his goodness, guided him here to the West Danes to defend us from Grendel. This is my hope, and for his heroism I will recompense him with a rich treasure. Go immediately, bid him and the Geats he has in attendance to assemble and enter. Say, moreover, when you speak to them, they are welcome to Denmark. At the door of the hall, Wulfgar duly delivered the message. My lord, the conquering king of the Danes bids me announce that he knows your ancestry, also that he welcomes you here to Heorot, and salutes your arrival from across the sea. You are free now to move forward, to meet Hrothgar in helmets and armor, but shields must stay here, and spears be stacked until the outcome of the audience is clear. The hero arose, surrounded closely by his powerful thanes. A party remained under orders to keep watch on the arms. The rest proceeded, led by their prince, under Heorot's roof. And standing on the hearth in webbed links that the smith had woven, the fine-forged mesh of his gleaming mail-shirt, resolute in his helmet, Beowulf spoke. Greetings to Hrothgar. I am Higelac's kinsman, one of his whole troop. When I was younger, I had great triumphs. Then, news of Grendel, hard to ignore, reached me at home. Sailors brought stories of the plight you suffer in this legendary hall, how it lies deserted, empty, and useless once the evening light hides itself under heaven's dome. So every elder and experienced councilman among my people supported my resolve to come here to you, King Hrothgar, because all knew of my awesome strength. They had seen me bolted in the blood of enemies when I battled and bound 5 beasts, raided a troll nest, and in the night sea slaughtered sea brutes. I have suffered extremes and avenged the Geats. Their enemies brought it upon themselves. I devastated them. Now, I mean to be a match for Grendel. Settle the outcome in single combat. And so my request, O King of Bright Danes, dear Prince of the Shieldings, friend of the people, my one request is that you won't refuse me, who have come this far, the privilege of purifying Heorot, with my own men to help me and nobody else. I have heard, moreover, that the monster scorns in his reckless way to use weapons. Therefore, to heighten Higelac's fame and gladden his heart, I hereby renounce sword and the shelter of the broad shield. The heavy warboard, hand to hand, is how it will be. A life and death fight with the fiend. Whichever one death fells must deem it a just judgment by God. If Grendel wins, it will be a gruesome day. He will glut himself on the Geats in the war hall, swoop without fear on that flower of manhood as on others before. Then my face won't be there to be covered in death. He will carry me away as he goes to ground, gorged and bloodied. He will run gloating with my raw corpse and feed on it alone in a cruel frenzy, fouling his moor nest. No need then to lament for long or lay out my body. If the battle takes me, send back this breast webbing that Welland fashioned and Hrethel gave me to Lord Higelac. Fate goes ever as fate must. Hrothgar, The helmet of shielding spoke. Beowulf, my friend, you have traveled here to favor us with help, and to fight for us. There was a feud one time begun by your father. With his own hands he had killed Heathelaf. He was a wolfing, so war was looming, and his people, in fear of it, forced him to leave. He came away then over rolling waves to the South Danes here, the sons of honor. I was then in the first flush of kingship, establishing my sway over all the rich strongholds of this heroic land. Hrothgar, my older brother, and the better man, also a son of half-Danes, had died. Finally, I healed the feud by paying. I shipped a treasure trove to the Wolfings, and Edgethar acknowledged me with oaths of allegiance. It bothers me to have to burden anyone with all the grief Grendel has caused, and the havoc he has wreaked upon us in Heorot, our humiliations. My household guard are on the wane. Fate sweeps them away into Grendel's clutches. But God can easily halt these raids and harrowing attacks. Time and time again, when the goblets passed and seasoned fighters got flushed with beer, they would pledge themselves to protect Heorot and wait for Grendel with whetted swords. But when dawn broke and day crept in, over each empty, blood-spattered bench, the floor of the mead hall where they had feasted would be slick with slaughter. And so they died, faithful retainers, and my following dwindled. Now take your place at the table. Relish the triumph of heroes to your heart's content. Then a bench was cleared in that banquet hall, so the Geats could have room to be together, and the party sat proud in their bearing, strong and stalwart. An attendant stood by with a decorated pitcher, pouring bright helpings of mead, and the minstrel sang, filling Heorot with his head-clearing voice, gladdening that great rally of Geats and Danes.
If you enjoyed this exhibit and you want to support the Mutant Museum, please consider donating either on Ko-fi or as a regular Patreon supporter like all these cool people, particularly Break System BSC, Michael Fittori, and Zachary Snowden-Smith, of course, and you'll be able to see your own name up here on the very next video for as little as $1 a month. Please also consider following me on other social media like Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, as well as buying one or both of my ebooks. All of these are linked in the description. Next week we'll be doing something a little bit special. The start of what I hope will be a new series, and in the meantime, thanks for being you.